The 7 core virtues of Bushido, the secret behind the invincible strength of samurai. Imagine a warrior on a mist-shrouded battlefield, clad in lacquered armor, a razor-sharp katana resting at his hip. He is vastly outnumbered, yet his breathing is steady, his eyes are calm, and his resolve is absolute. This is the enduring image of the Japanese samurai. For centuries, these elite warriors dominated the history and imagination of Japan, revered not just for their lethal martial prowess, but for an indomitable psychological resilience that made them seemingly invincible. What was the secret to this unwavering strength? It was not merely the mastery of the sword, the spear, or the bow. The true invincibility of the samurai originated from within. It was forged in the fires of a strict, unwritten moral code known as Bushido, the way of the warrior. First brought to Western awareness by Inazo Nitobe in his seminal 1900 book, Bushido, the Soul of Japan, this ancient ethos blended the peaceful serenity of Zen Buddhism, the filial piety of Confucianism, and the reverence for nature found in Shintoism. Bushido functioned as an operating system for the samurai's soul, ensuring that their terrifying martial power was governed by profound moral character. At the heart of this philosophy lies 7 core virtues. Together, they form the blueprint for the ultimate warrior and offer a timeless guide for living a life of purpose, resilience, and honor today. To a samurai, gi was the foundational bone structure of their character. Without bones, the body cannot stand. Without gi, neither talent nor learning can make a person a true warrior. Rectitude is the power to make unwavering decisions based upon reason and moral truth without hesitation. Inazo Nitobe described it as the resolve to die when it is right to die, to strike when it is right to strike. For the samurai, justice was not an abstract legal concept debated in courts. It was a visceral, personal responsibility. It meant doing the right thing, especially when it was the hardest thing to do. This black-and-white commitment to righteousness freed the warrior from the paralyzing grip of doubt. When a samurai entered battle, they did so with a clear conscience, knowing their cause was just. This absolute moral clarity was the first step toward their psychological invincibility. True courage in Bushido is not the absence of fear, nor is it blind, reckless aggression. To rush into the battlefield and be killed without purpose was considered foolish, an act of a brute. You is intelligent courage. It is the ability to do what is right and necessary despite the presence of fear. The samurai cultivated this virtue through rigorous Zen meditation, learning to detach themselves from the fear of death. By accepting their own mortality before the battle even began, they were liberated to fight with absolute freedom and terrifying focus. As the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi wrote, "The true science of martial arts means practicing them in such a way that they will be useful at any time, and to teach them in such a way that they will be useful in all things." Courage was simply the outward manifestation of inner peace. A warrior with a sword who lacks compassion is nothing more than a murderer. Jin is the virtue that balances the lethality of the samurai. The highest level of martial mastery was not the ability to kill, but the wisdom to know when to show mercy. The samurai wielded immense power over the common classes, but Bushido dictated that this power must be used to protect the weak and uphold peace. A true warrior was expected to be as gentle as they were deadly. They cultivated compassion through poetry, calligraphy, and the tea ceremony, ensuring their hearts remained tender as their bodies became weapons. This dual nature, the fierce protector and the gentle poet, made the samurai not just feared, but deeply respected and loved by those they served. In modern times, politeness is often viewed as mere etiquette or social conditioning. In the way of the samurai, rei was a profound expression of inner strength and discipline. True politeness is rooted in a deep, empathetic regard for the feelings and humanity of others. For the samurai, respect was maintained at all times, even toward a mortal enemy. Before a duel to death, warriors would bow respectfully to one another. This was not a hollow gesture, it was an acknowledgement of the opponent's skill, humanity, and shared devotion to the warrior's path. By treating everyone with respect, the samurai elevated their own soul, avoiding the trap of arrogance and anger. As Nitobe noted, politeness is a poor virtue if it is motivated only by a fear of offending good taste, whereas it should be the outward manifestation of a sympathetic regard for the feelings of others.
When a samurai said they would do something, it was as good as done. There was no need for written contracts, promises, or oaths. To a warrior, the very act of speaking a commitment meant it was already a reality. This was the concept of makoto, or absolute sincerity. In the samurai class, lying or acting with duplicity was considered an act of profound cowardice. A warrior's word was the measure of their character. Bushi no Ichigon, the word of a warrior, was an ironclad guarantee. This radical honesty required immense bravery, as it meant a samurai had to own their actions and their mistakes without excuse. By living in total alignment with the truth, the samurai cultivated a terrifyingly pure state of mind, free from the heavy, chaotic burden of deceit. Of all the virtues, meiyo was arguably the most sacred. Honor was the very lifeblood of the samurai. It encompassed their reputation, their dignity, and the legacy of their family name. A true samurai lived with a heightened sense of self-worth and a profound aversion to shame. The fear of disgrace was a far stronger motivator than the fear of death. If a samurai's honor was compromised, the only way to restore it was often through seppuku, the ritual of honorable suicide. While shocking to the modern mind, this extreme practice underscores how highly they valued their spiritual integrity over their physical existence. A life without honor was considered worse than death. This fierce devotion to their name and reputation ensured that every action, no matter how small, was executed with the utmost perfection and grace. In the feudal era of Japan, a samurai's life belonged to their feudal lord, daimyo. Chugi was the virtue of absolute, unwavering loyalty. A samurai was expected to follow their master into battle, into exile, and even into death if necessary. However, true loyalty in Bushido was not sycophantic, blind obedience. If a lord was making a disastrous or immoral decision, it was the samurai's duty to speak up and offer correction, even if it meant risking their own life to deliver the harsh truth. Loyalty meant dedicating oneself completely to a cause larger than oneself. By subsuming their ego into the service of their master and their clan, the samurai freed themselves from petty, selfish desires, channeling all their energy into a unified, singular purpose. The enduring legacy of the invincible warrior. The invincibility of the samurai was never about an inability to bleed or fall in battle. History is filled with samurai who were defeated, wounded, and killed. Their true invincibility was psychological and spiritual. Because they lived by the 7 virtues of Bushido, they could not be broken from the inside. They possessed a mind fortified by gi, justice, stabilized by makoto, honesty, and elevated by jin, compassion. They were driven by an unshakable sense of meiyo, honor, and chudi, loyalty, allowing them to face terrifying odds with the yu, courage, to fight, and the rei, respect, to maintain their humanity in the face of bloodshed. While the age of the samurai has long since passed, the philosophy of Bushido remains startlingly relevant. We may not carry katanas or wear armor, but the battlegrounds of modern life, our careers, our relationships, our internal struggles, still demand the very same virtues. To cultivate justice, courage, compassion, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty is to forge your own invincible spirit, ready to face whatever challenges the modern world brings.